Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris on France 24. James Creedon has joined us in the studio because it is time for Media Watch. Good evening to James.
Indeed. Good evening, Laura.
Good to see you. Now, everybody, of course, still talking about this atrocity here in France. Mohamed Merah, who shot dead 7 people, including, of course, 3 small children. And there are a lot of questions and a lot of allegations and a lot of confusion. Just tell us a bit about what you've got.
All right, well, first of all, I think there was a rush to categorise him in the early days of the story. You know, he was either a terrorist with links to Al-Qaeda or he was a lone gunman. I suppose the news moves so quickly nowadays that it's easy to form narratives that aren't fully accurate, right? Now, what we're seeing today is a more nuanced, more complex picture emerging. Now, a former head of one of the main French intelligence agencies, a guy called Yves Bonnet, he spoke to the media today and he said that Mohamed Merah was known as an informant to the Secret Service in France more than as an Islamist, so that he had links with them in the past. Now, France Télévisions, so that's already a stunning claim.
So that they're saying that he informed on terrorists. He told the French Secret Service, he gave them information about terrorists in Afghanistan.
That's right. He had connections with members of the French Secret Service. He was an informant as regards jihadi movements. That seems to be the claim. Now, France Télévisions, they asked a terrorism expert on this, or an intelligence agency expert, who said, look, it's perfectly possible that he would have been perhaps an informant. He had tried to work for the French army at one point, but he wasn't taken on. He had tried to work for the French Foreign Legion, so maybe he would have also been willing to help out the French Secret Service. Now, perhaps most interestingly, the Italian newspaper Il Foglio got their hands on some information. They say that Merah went to Afghanistan and Israel in September 2010 with French Secret Service assistance. Now, apparently the aim of this, according to Il Foglio, was to gain the confidence of jihadis by showing them that he could get into Israel with a European passport in order to carry out attacks. So to build links with certain jihadi movements as a sort of an informant. So it's a very, very complex picture if this proves to be true. Worth pointing out that the head of the French Secret Service, Bernard Scorsini, has denied all of this, has said that he wasn't an informant. But what we are seeing certainly is a more complex picture emerging than perhaps we initially thought to be the case.
And let's not forget that the murderer himself did say during that standoff with police that he was working for Al-Qaeda, didn't he? That's what he claimed.
That's right. That's right. So, really, where is the truth in all of this? It appears to be a cloudy picture that is emerging. Who knows?
All right. Now, of course, he filmed the murders of those 7 people, including, of course, the small children. He had a camera strapped to his chest. This video then made its way to the international news channel Al Jazeera.
That's right.
They've decided today not to play those images.
That's right. You can see here on their website, Al Jazeera not to air French killings video. Now, the media are pointing out that there are many reasons why they would choose to do that, or choose to not play the videos, because, first of all, massive pressure from the families of the victims not to do so, from all sides. Also, public opinion clearly would not be in favour of it. And also, the French authorities, including Nicolas Sarkozy, have been pretty much saying, if you try to do that, if any television channel tries to do this, we'll go out there and scramble their signals, even on their territory, which is a pretty extraordinary thing for Nicolas Sarkozy to say. We'll go to wherever this channel is broadcasting and scramble it. Right. But clearly a will there to make sure that these pictures do not come out.
OK, now let's move on to another story. The socialist leader, François Hollande, had got something of an unwelcome endorsement today, didn't he?
He definitely did. Ziad Taqiyuddin, right? Now, he's a very shadowy figure here in France. Just to sum up who he is, he's the alleged middleman in a kickback scandal involving Pakistan, to which Sarkozy has been linked. So he's a sort of key behind-the-scenes figure, and a very shadowy figure indeed. Anyway, he came out today and he said, you know what? I'm supporting François Hollande.
I bet he was thrilled.
Right. Let's take a listen to what he said on BFM television today here in France.
Le seul qui présente
the only one who is clean and pure, where his lack of experience is actually an advantage, is François Hollande. Instead of cleaning up the troubled suburbs of France, he'd clean out the filth, the mafia at the head of this state.
Clean and pure. Interesting choice of language for someone involved in the kind of things he is.
I'm sure Hollande isn't actually pleased to hear that he's clean and pure, according to Ziad Taqiyuddin, who thinks that Sarkozy and company are filth and mafia. It's a pretty extraordinary claim, and it shows that there's clearly been a fallout at some level between Ziad Taqiyuddin and Sarkozy and his people. But in any case, François Hollande very quickly said, I received no such support, which is just not true, because Ziad Taqiyuddin did actually support him.
We've just heard it.
Said, I won't be used. I think that he has information Nicolas and Sarkozy, and I refuse to be instrumentalisé or used. So
Okay, all right. Now let's talk about Sarkozy, because he's found a somewhat laborious way to get himself some votes. He's sending individual emails to French people who live in London.
100,000 of them.
Pretty time-consuming,
I doubt he was actually writing out 100,000 emails. I think it was a spam effort in any case. Now, this has been controversial because he's using consular databases to get the emails of all of these people living as expats in London and elsewhere. Hollande and other candidates don't have access to those databases, so some might consider it's unfair, but it isn't actually illegal. Now, perhaps most interestingly, one Frenchie in London told the Guardian journalist, "What angered me was that I couldn't reply." So he tried to reply and say, "I don't support you and I don't want this email," but he couldn't. There you go.
Funny that, isn't it? You have to send a letter.
You can't reply to spam.
The old-fashioned way.
So just very quickly to say, Laura,
yes.
we'll be back in the next
half hour. You're going to be back,
hour,
aren't you?
as you know, and we'll be taking a look at social media trends around the election, the issue of unemployment, perhaps becoming more important now than security, which dominated in the last 7 days with the whole Toulouse killings. So unemployment coming back to the fore.
2 doses of James Creedon in one night. What more could you ask for? Stay tuned to Postbank. All right, thank you, James, for now. Now it's time for our daily look at what's on the web, and activists have posted what they say is more proof that the Syrian army uses civilians as human shields. It's time for Web News.